Hi! Welcome to the Murray Bridge Library and welcome to Storytime. I have a very special story to share with you today. My name's Tim and our story is Garden of Friends, The Beginning, and it's written by Christina Stonesmith and illustrated by Linstead. Let's have a look. Garden Friends. Emily was in her bedroom looking through the window at her favourite plants underneath the old oak tree. It was raining outside, so she went and picked up the new binoculars she got for her birthday and looked closely at the plants. What she saw next surprised her so much that she nearly fell off the window seat. Can you see what she saw? We can see, hiding behind the pink flowers, a face, a brown face with two eyes and a nose. How very strange. The next day the weather was so sunny, Emily could not wait to go outside into her garden. She opened the back door and walked quietly into her garden to the old oak tree. She sat on the grass with her pet rabbit, Floppy, next to the two plants. She peered close to the heather plant, but could not see anything. Emily was feeling disappointed as she sat there watching the plants. She spotted something in the aster plant. Emily breathed deeply and held her hands together in delight. I wonder what she could have found. Can you see what Emily spotted in the aster plant? I think we can see. Is there something in amongst the petals? After lunch, Emily thought she would go down to the garden and sit quietly by the old tree. When Emily arrived at the old tree, she sat on the grass. Then suddenly, out of the heather plant, a small figure moved out of the branches. "I am Heath, and this plant is my home," said Heath. There's Heath. He's a little brown boy. Brown hair, brown face, brown clothes, brown boots. Suddenly, from the aster flower, a little figure was waking up, and tiny arms pulled the petals back. A little voice spoke and said, "Hello," very softly. "That's Aster," said Heath. "She lives in the plant. We've both lived close to each other for years." There she is. She's very florally, isn't she? She's got flowery hair and beautiful, colourful clothes. Emily sat talking to Heath, and he explained that he and Aster don't talk at all. "Why?" asked Emily. "I don't know. It's always been like that," Heath said. Emily asked Aster if she would like to talk and be her friend. She explained that friends cared for each other and spent time together. Friends also talk to each other when they have problems or worries. Aster explained that Heath had been hurting her home and herself. "How?" asked Emily. "The plant and Heath are so spiky, and when the wind blows or Heath gets too close, they can hurt us sometimes." "I'm sorry, I didn't know I was hurting you," said Heath, jumping to the ground. "What would be their safe distance thought Emily. She asked Heath and Asta to extend their arms slowly. Then she moved them slightly apart. That's how far you need to be, said Emily. Looks like social distancing, doesn't it? What can we do? The plants are very close together, said Emily. I know we could move Asta's plant, said Heath. No, that would damage my home, said Asta. What will they do, I wonder? I know we could cut some of Heath's branches off, so there is more room, Asta said. No, that's my home, said Heath. What can they do? Emily's very clever. I have an idea, said Emily, and she ran inside to get her paper and pencil. We can make a meeting place on a platform and attach it to the old tree, then make 2 walkways which go to your homes. There you can see the little almost tree house that she's going to build so that the two can become friends again. Emily and Dad worked on the platform and the little house in the shed all week. Emily helped her dad put some nails in the little house, and then it was finished. Tomorrow they planned to put it into the garden. Emily was so excited. Today's the day. Off we go down to the garden. Could you please take the bucket with the hammer and nails? Emily, and I will carry the rest, said Dad. Emily was so happy she was jumping up and down. It looks perfect, she said. Emily gave her dad a big hug to say thank you. Just one more thing I need, thought Emily. She ran up to her bedroom and picked up 2 chairs and a table from her doll's house. Emily put the chairs and table into the meeting place. She could not wait for Asta and Heath to see what she had done. Asta and Heath were so excited to see their new meeting place. They walked up the platform, sat on their chairs and chatted to each other. This is perfect, said Heath. Lovely, said Asta. Together they laughed. We can see each other every day. Our homes are safe, and so are we. Emily watched for a little while, very pleased with herself. Every problem has an answer, she thought, as she walked back to the house. She turned around and waved goodbye to her 2 friends. I'll see you both tomorrow. Bye, Emily, and thank you and your dad for making us a friendly place where we can both be safe, said Asta and Heath, waving. I said, bye, Emily. They were very grateful. And that is the end of the story. I hope you enjoyed that story, all about how you can work through your problems and you can make special friendships. We'll see you next time for more stories.